Welcome back to Take a Sip Podcast. Today, I am Gustavo.
And I'm Amilcar / Leche.
Today, I am drinking a Modelo. Leche, what are you drinking?
I wish I had something, Spanish. I probably should have gotten something Spanish that I had there. But I'm drinking a Down East today.
All right. And today, my people, mi gente, we are talking about Hispanic Heritage Month. By the time this episode comes out, it's going to be the end of it. But why not keep celebrating our culture, our people, who we are, right?
Of course, man. Always been proud to be Hispanic.
Yeah. So to start off, let's just talk a little bit about what our background is, how we got to being here. Do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of ties both of our parents together, since we're first cousins and whatnot. So, my mom and Gustavo's mom are sisters, and they're both from Guatemala. Not only that, but both of our parents are from both of our set parents are from Guatemala. So, like, my dad is from Guatemala himself as well.
Yes,
and so is your dad. So it's kind of a rare occasion that we're technically 100% Guatemalan.
Yeah, normally it's like, oh, I'm half this and half that. Like, no,
yeah,
we're just full Guatemalan.
Full Guatemalan, which is, in my opinion, kind of special to me. I find that really, really intriguing, and I freaking love that so much that we're like 100%. I mean, of course, you would want some, half this, half that, a third of that, or a fourth of this, or whatever, 1/16th, Italian or something like that. But
but even still, then, like, just Guatemalans in general to be 100% Guatemalan kids is rare. I mean, we have a few cousins who are half Guatemalan, half Salvadorian. We just recently have another cousin who is half Guatemalan, half Dominican. We have a nephew who is now half Puerto Rican, another one who is half Mexican. So to be full Guatemalan feels good. Feels different.
We even have some that are half Mexican, half Guatemalan, half Salvadorian, half Guatemalan. It's just it's crazy how many halves there is now compared to pretty much we still have that full 100% as of now.
Well, but a lot of our interests are also very different. So even our own kids might be half this and half of that.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, maybe. For sure, though. No, for sure. Probably
depends on who we find.
More likely, they will be different. So
very true.
So yeah, back to my parents, how they pretty much got started. So my parents actually knew each other back when they were pretty young. I would say. I think that they tell me, at least, the first interactions they ever had with each other was I think my dad was 17 at the time and my mom was 12 at the time. Or no, something like that. She was pretty young, but he was 17 that he remembers that first meeting my mom, because I think my dad knew, I believe, one of our aunts, and they just they hung out, I guess. And and that's pretty much how he met my mom, like, as kids. But when they actually started like dating and stuff like that was back here in the United States, more essentially here in Massachusetts, in the Boston area, in the 1980s. That's when they pretty much got together and like pretty much started going out, that they tell me.
So I'm going to be honest, I'm probably a horrible child because I don't know much about how my parents met and stuff. That is more my sisters who ask those questions.
I always like to know my parents like history and whatnot. So
yeah, but I do know some. Obviously I can't be as detailed as Leche was, but for the most part, I know both my parents immigrated up here. I want to say early '80s, along with your parents. Well, my mom with your parents.
Yeah.
And then my dad's older brother was already up here for a few years, I believe, and he was already married. And then my dad made the trip up here to the same place, Boston, Massachusetts. And they actually met. Well, they got the job that they still have actually at a small hospital. And I believe it was there where my aunt knew my mom, and then obviously my uncle and my dad, they're brothers. And then I guess they just introduced them, they hit it off, and at that point my mom, was like late teens, and my dad was, I want to say, mid-20s. Also, disclaimer, just want to say that Hispanic family, parents, or whatever, couples just having some sort of age difference is a normal thing for our culture.
Yeah, like the gaps of age sometimes, it's
are very drastic.
Some more than others, of course, but
100%. But yeah, they met, they hit it off, they went out, and then weirdly enough, both our older sisters, gross to think about, were conceived around the same time. And then they were born. My older sister was first, and then Amilcar's sister was born 2 days later.
Yeah, it's so close. Like, I don't know how, or just I don't know how they even managed that. Like, I'm like, all right, cool, I guess.
And then I believe about that time was when our grandmother also came up from Guatemala here to where we are now. Yeah, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
Then 3 years after our older sisters, again, weirdly enough, about the same time, both Leche and I were conceived. The only difference now is that I was born first, and then Amilcar was born 2 months later.
It's kinda, I still don't know how, dude.
It's such a weird coincidence. It's definitely not planned. There was no way they planned something like that.
Maybe the first kids, but but us, I don't know.
Yeah. And then
they gave up on the thirds.
They really did, because your brother was born what? 2 years? 3 years?
3 years. 3 years.
3 years after you. And then my little sister wanted to be special. She was born 7 years after me, leaving a 4-year gap between Amilcar's younger brother and then my younger sister. So they messed it up, but I mean, it's always the younger ones who mess it all up. And then we just have family everywhere over the years. We had other family immigrate from Guatemala to up here. We're all early to late 20s, some already in their 30s. Some already have kids. So the family's still expanding. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's the ever expanding family. And then some, on some side of the families, there's family members you've never even met still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have never even mentioned about on top of that. So who knows how big the actual family is, the actual, picture is of the family.
Yeah.
It could be 100, it could be 200. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. But now let's talk about why we are proud to be Guatemalans, why we are proud Chapines. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I could start. Why I think not just Chapin, but definitely proud Hispanic just overall in general. I just maybe over the years we get bad rep for it, but I do love our culture, just our overall culture, like how Hispanic parents raise their kids. I think in households, in most households, they're very raised, like disciplined, of course, and stuff like that. They grow up mature, more mature. How am I trying to word this? Sorry. I'm trying to word this like we're learning at a young age, like how to do certain things. And I just love that about our cultures because I think that's just how our parents were raised. And I love how that just continues the cycle. You learn from your parents and then from there, keep going forward and whatnot.
Well, I'd also like to point out that where both of our sets of parents were born. Well, I don't know much about your dad, but I know our moms and then my dad were born in areas that were not the wealthiest. So I know my parents at most have like a middle school education. So yeah, so even from like, yeah, they went to school and stuff, but even right after they would rush home and then they're either learning how to maintain a household or they're out working or finding some form to make ends meet to just bring to the table. And yeah, their parents, our grandparents were probably like super strict on them and stuff, but it was survival during that overall time. Where thankfully we weren't born in that sort of situation, but a lot of those teachings were still put on us, which are actually very helpful to where we are now.
Yeah, exactly. I think you just said it way better how I wanted to explain
it. I'm 25 and I've been a sous chef for 3 years now. So at 22, like how many people could say they got their first sous chef, like full on manager, kitchen manager, like job at the age of 22? Like that is
very few.
It's a very difficult thing to get your foot through, but luckily, like being able to just, again, hard work that our parents installed on us and
at a very young age,
and just the resilience as well. Like again, we grew up not in the best area, so we had to learn for ourselves for the most part. I would like to say, but
you said it spot on for sure.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit more like why we're first of all, like you cannot say we don't have bumping music half the time.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say even up to the point. Yeah, it might be kind of crude here and there for some people, but
and very old songs, but they still hold up during parties.
Oh yeah, dude. That's what I like about Hispanic music. A lot of Spanish music just holds up to test of times, dude. Not just, reggaeton and stuff like that, but like classic bachatas, the classic, stuff
Merengues, like that. Oh yeah.
That holds up, dude, up to parties today. They were bumping 20 years ago, they're still bumping now. It's ridiculous, dude.
100%. Yeah, I mean, if you look up on like Latin TikTok videos that sometimes show up, like those are kids, but even those kids are using some old songs, but they're bumping to it in their TikToks, and I'm like, yeah, that's literally what every kid does at this point.
Yeah, they grew up with that music, literally. Like their parents grew up with that music. Now they're growing up with that music. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You shuffle through my phone, like you'll go from Imagine Dragons to Shakira to the Black Eyed Peas to Ricky Martin to some, let's say, Panic at the Disco, and then I'll go back to like Los Tigres del Norte or something.
Some obscure group, yeah. Tigres del Norte, yeah.
Los Conejos. But I mean, like, that's what we put. And there's no cleaning the house without music bumping in the place.
Yeah, man. I feel like that's where we get like that meme comes from. That's us, dude. I feel like Hispanics have that routine, dude. I mean, other cultures probably would want to claim that, but I feel that started with us, dude.
100%. 100%.
Like, cleaning the house with music, dude. Come on, that's like a must have type of thing on the weekend for sure.
That's why a lot of, again, Latinx, like Vines, TikToks, YouTube videos that include all these things do so well, because it's literally something. It's not just Mexicans who do this. It's not just Guatemalans who do this, Salvadorans who do this. It's a common thing between the entire Hispanic culture.
And on top of like music and stuff like that, we have some really good food. Like up to the point where we have these, these restaurants like Chipotle, American made, that's supposedly Spanish food or Mexican food, and it's not really that. Like try to imitate it, but dude, nothing compares to the real thing though, for sure. Some carne asada with some, tortillas and some
tortillas, chirmol con un aguacate al lado.
Yeah, like nothing beats something like that, like grandma's tamales and stuff. Like, come on, it's classic stuff like that. It just can't beat that,
Laches, garnachas, chicharrón, coñuca. Yo, when your dad makes chicharrón, holla at your boy. Like, I want some.
The best chicharrones ever, dude.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like, again, growing up mostly with our grandmother, who raised a big portion of not just us but our cousins as well and our siblings. She always had some sort of project for us to do, like cooking wise. Because even though she was babysitting all of us, like she was still making food and selling it to people who knew. So I remember specifically, at one point she had us all around the table, and we were just a whole a line just making tamales.
Oh yeah, just someone dumping the masa in, others putting the little thing,
sauce, then the chicken, then the bell peppers, then the olives.
Yeah, I remember, just literally like a production line.
That's the word of production. And then just the oldest cousin who knew directions well was the one helping my grandmother wrap the tamales up, ready to put in this giant pot to cook off.
Yeah. One food that maybe not too many Hispanics, because I'm pretty sure it's a Guatemalan dish, is the garnachas, which is pretty much tortillas pretty much sliced in half with meat on top, and then over that is
nice tomato.
And then queso on top. That's pretty much what that is for the uninitiated,
Yeah, I think that is a Guatemalan dish. I think Salvadorians might have something similar to that as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that comes from entirely, but our family makes that a lot.
Oh, yeah. My favorite dish that I know is 100% Guatemalan, and I love when my grandmother makes it. And there is a Guatemalan restaurant in, where is it, Rhode Island?
Mm-hmm.
I just, it's the only dish I eat when I go to this restaurant because it is authentic Guatemalan food. It's literally called Mi Pueblo Guatemala, right? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But my favorite dish is hilachas.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just like shredded skirt steak and this very flavorful red sauce with potatoes and carrots, served with rice and nice warm tortillas. I could just taste it now. I want it.
Every time talking about food, especially Polish food, it just makes me want to salivate a little bit more.
Oh yeah,
we definitely got really tasty food.
Oh yeah. And fun fact, actually, I made hilachas one day at work about a year ago because we needed a steak special and it's skirt steak. So I made it and it was a fucking hit. People loved it. And I even gave like the servers a small like course on how to pronounce it, like ingredients wise. And yeah, it sold out before we even finished the night. Yeah,
that's dope. Nice, dude. That's a big hit, dude. Just spreading the culture, dude. Straight up.
and that's why I liked it. Like that's so to like rewind a little bit, like growing up cooking with my grandmother, and then like being here at home and like helping my mom cook as well. Like that's where my love for cooking originated, and that's why like if I get a chance to cook, like I'll do it. And it even pushed me to find a career in the restaurant industry as well.
It's kind of crazy. It literally set you up at a young age. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's and that's what makes, like, you know, I feel that's what makes us proud as Hispanics, you know, stuff like that. Just talking about how the past is helping us right now at the present, and hopefully it helps us in the future, you know. It's great.
I'm just happy. I'm sorry for you, Leche, but I'm happy I broke the Guatemalan stereotype.
I get what you mean. You don't have to say it. Yeah. All right, for these people that don't know, I'll explain to them. Guatemalans are notorious for being extremely short. I'm not sure what this and like dark skinned, yeah. But I'm not too dark skinned. I'm you know, I look like a little bit frijol, you know, a little bit red. Frijol,
exactly. But like you still have like people look at you and they're like, okay, he's some sort of Central South American.
I look so Hispanic, dude. They'll be like, "Oh God, this like especially it's obvious,
bro. Your mustache out."
Shoot, dude. Yeah, when I have my whole goatee going, dude. Oh my God, like there's no way if I tell them I'm something else, dude, they're gonna think I'm freaking lying to them. Unlike you, dude. Yeah, you got the freaking, you know, the long straw here, dude.
All right, but it's still, again, like we spoke about it like in the last episode too, where it's like we deal unfortunately with like some social injustices still. But I mean, like besides that, like yeah, I enjoy sometimes surprising people. Like people just look at me and it's like, who's this white kid? And then it's like I'll be like, hi, my name is Hola, soy Gustavo, ¿cómo le puedo ayudar? And it's like people's jaws drop. Like
they're like, what? Like, no way, dude.
It's like, yeah. I was like, oh, you didn't expect that, did you?
This American went to Mexico for a few years to learn Spanish? Holy crap.
It's like, no, never went. Just learned it here. Oh, you learned it without an accent. Like, you're really good. And it's like,
no shit. My parents are Spanish.
It's my first language.
Oh, man, dude.
I learned my colors in Spanish and cut my colors in Spanish before English, yeah.
it sucks because out of, I think all of us, like, I'm the most Hispanic looking, but I talk the least amount of Spanish. It's a shame. It's a shame for sure. It's like an injustice, but
All right.
There's nothing I could do about that.
But it's not as bad as two of our cousins who were born and raised over there for a few years.
And they lost their Spanish.
And they lost their Spanish. Like, they're bad now.
I mean, it happens, I guess.
Well,
too much time here in the U.S. does change people like that. You pick up the accents and stuff. Yeah, that's how I see it. But my Spanish in the last like year or two has definitely improved in my opinion, because I've had to like explain to my mom a lot more things and whatnot. Not just like about work and stuff like that, but like the house stuff and like stuff that's happening around, in the United States and stuff like that. So I felt like I needed to explain it a little bit more because Naomi was having trouble to explain it. So I had to explain it to Naomi and then explain it to my mom a little bit, sort of like that type of situation. But I feel like my Spanish has gotten a little bit better.
It definitely has. Even I've noticed it. It definitely has gotten a lot better. The weird thing with me, though, it's like, I know a majority of the words, but there are some words I just can't translate, and I'm lucky enough that my parents, like, know enough English that I could say the word in English, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, your mom doesn't know much English, so she
doesn't.
Like, you guys just have to force the Spanish out with her.
It's like my mom doesn't know much English, and then my dad thinks he knows a lot of English.
Yeah. And then and then translating, like, when he's saying something to the group, and let's say me and you overheard, we're like, that's not what they said, and
that's
we have to fix it. He gets mad because it's like, that's what I said, and it's like, no, it's not. That's not what you said.
It's nothing what you just said, but okay, we'll just keep going with our day. We could go into like, Hispanic inspired things around, around the world, not just, our experience, in media and like movies, books and stuff like that, how the Hispanic influence has actually reached in a worldwide spectrum pretty much.
Yes. And to get things started off, let's get one thing straight. As much as some of you want to say it, Justin Bieber did not discover reggaeton just because of his Despacitos. Because when that song came out, I read so many comments like, oh, Justin Bieber, he's great. He discovered this. And it's like, no, like,
that's been there. He discovered it himself.
Bachata, marimba, everything has been alive much longer than he had.
Yeah.
It's just, unfortunately, he was the one to help bring it to light, I guess, quotation marks.
It's more like that song was a good gateway for, you could say, non-speaking Spanish countries, like pick up Spanish culture a little bit. And like, I think that was a good like segue for people, like, oh, Justin Bieber learned a little bit of Spanish to do a song with these Hispanics, and it's really bumping song,
Yeah.
So it kind of opened their eyes to be like, oh shit, yeah, I mean, this song is fucking dope, and Justin Bieber singing it, holy shit,
But I mean, even besides, like, before Justin Bieber, I mean, there have been other great Latin singers, pop artists who were still here in the U.S. Shakira was one. She had a bunch of bangers in the early 90s, early 2000s.
And I like what she did, because she did Spanish versions and then she did English versions of her song. So there's, there was a little segue for people. I'll be like, hey, you can listen to both of them. You can listen to one and then maybe understand the second one, things like that.
And not even that, but I mean, if you think about it, for somebody who is learning Spanish, that's a great tool there because now you have it in both languages, and then you can listen to it and be like, okay, so in this line she says, "There's a she wolf in the closet," and then in Spanish it's like, what is it? Hay una loba en el closet.
You got me. You chose the wrong song, dude.
I know. I might have just butchered that song. But either way, like, okay, there you could say loba is wolf. And people, like, that's how people start learning. That's a mechanism people use. And, like, again, she helped move that forward.
Yeah, like it kind of takes away the fear of like you learning actually, of you actually learning that language, you know? Like, hey, like, it'll be easier for me to remember it through songs than me, you know, learn it through a book or someone teaching me, you know?
And along with Shakira, I don't think she did many songs in Spanish. I think she just threw Spanish words in her music. I could be wrong. I don't know much about her career. Was J-Lo. Isn't J-Lo's like Puerto Rican? And
I think she did a few songs that are in Spanish, I'm pretty sure.
Right? Yeah.
I think. I don't know much about J-Lo, but J-Lo's singing career, but it's I know most of her English work, but not her Spanish work too much.
Yeah. And even still then, like the Super Bowl they did, wasn't it just last year? I mean, that just brought so much awareness as well to the Hispanic world out there, the Latin world out there. Having two strong Latina women put this incredible show on, and it was a great halftime show. I actually enjoyed it. Yeah. Shakira,
was it last year? I thought it was like 2 years ago. Oh, yeah, maybe it was last year. Yeah.
Another big artist who was very popular in the U.S. even in the 90s was Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin was dope in the 90s, even before he came out. Like,
he was adored. Like, I know a lot of people like kind of forgot that he was Hispanic. I mean, that I know most people here in the U.S. probably know him from like, you know, his what's the song, dude? I can never remember this song title.
I Can Be Your Hero.
That one. Okay, we can choose that one. But yeah, he did. No, that's Enrique Iglesias, dude.
Shit,
you're mixing your artists too.
I forgot about Enrique.
We could talk about him afterwards, but he's a good segue, you know, from Ricky Martin. But Ricky Martin, yeah, he was adored by a lot of people, like both Hispanics and like Americans here, like, and like a dozen other people just loved him because he was just a handsome guy.
Living La Vida Loca.
There you go. That's the song I was thinking about, dude. No, but a lot of people enjoyed him for that, though.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just the beacon. I mean, they're just some. There's a whole bunch of other artists who were still in the English world. Like I said, Enrique Iglesias, even though he was like purely Spanish, I believe at the beginning of his career. I know Daddy Yankee was also popular.
Yeah, these are like early 90s people pretty much that started the game for like bringing in the Hispanic culture, you know, two people.
Mark Anthony, Pitbull, Thalia was one. Nicky Jam was also very good. Prince Royce was still really big because of he's another one who did like English, Spanish music as well.
But now, like nowadays, it's just literally they're creating music with a blend of English and Spanish.
And I mean, one full album that completely dedicates and highlights a lot of Spanish artists is the Black Eyed Peas. Their most recent album.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just about every song includes
Spanish artist.
One Spanish artist, and it's a great album. I actually enjoyed how the whole, literally, you think the song is about to end, and then it just flows right into the next one.
Yeah, like, it's like pretty smooth.
And funny enough, the album is called Translation.
A fitting title.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a great album. I enjoy it. And I mean, even in the Black Eyed Peas, what's his name? Taboo is Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like the Asian one for you guys who don't know, but he's actually Mexican. And then Fergie, little people know, but she's an 8th Mexican.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, she's even come out in a lot of interviews that, yeah, it's a little bit, but it's still part of her identity. She still grew up as we did, listening to the music, eating the food. So it's something she likes to, what's it called? Express and like put out there. Like, yes, I might be an 8th, but she still considers herself Mexican.
Yeah, like you said, like she's proud of who she is. Mm-hmm. Like she's proud of it, as you always should be for stuff like that.
And I mean, being able to express yourself in the Hispanic Latinx world, like, you don't fully need to know Spanish. You don't need to know all these musical artists or be able to dance bachata, merengue, salsa, cumbia, punta, whatever. It's just the love for like where you're from, the music, and like just expressing it.
Just the embracing of the culture is just, I feel like that's what I love when people do. Like, they just love talking about it, love embracing. They're like, oh yeah, like I like this artist, and they're like, you know, there's something else, and they usually listen to this other type of music, and they're like, oh, I really like this artist because he's like, you know, really good and whatnot. Yeah. And he's a Hispanic artist. I'm like, yeah, you see, that's like, it's crazy that just people have that much respect and like they're really embracing the culture, you know.
And I mean, talk about while we're already there, some actors, actresses, even musical artists that people forget or don't know that are some form of Hispanic. I mean, to start off, Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, some people forget that.
Yeah, she's of Ecuadorian descent.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, like, you look at her and
you would get like something entirely different.
You don't see it. Exactly. Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, all Hispanics are different shapes, different sizes, different colors. And I mean, some way, somehow, we all still come together.
Mm-hmm.
Another person, Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars is half Puerto Rican, half Filipino.
I was gonna say that, like, what's his Hispanic side? Because I've always wanted to know. I knew he was Filipino, but I didn't know his Hispanic side.
And even still then, Filipinos are honorary Mexicans. I mean, they literally do just about everything we do as Latinos.
Well,
like, and they're pretty close by too. So.
If we ever get a Filipino here, we'll ask them if they accept that.
Well, you also got to think about it. Like, a lot of Filipinos, if you like pay attention, they have a lot of
similarities. Yeah,
a lot of Spanish like last names, and it's because of their. I believe they were conquered by the Spanish for a bit in the past, and that's why a lot of marriages are Spaniards and Filipinos, and that's why a lot of them have Spanish last names. I mean,
maybe I'm not sure about the history, but I mean that could be right. That could be true.
Yeah, and well, it's been said like I don't know if you watch Smosh still, but even so, then one of the guys, Anthony Padilla. You look at him, you could be like, oh, he could past as a Latino, but he's Filipino.
Oh, okay.
Even with the last name Padilla. And right now there's another girl that's part of the cast. Oh my God, why am I forgetting her name? Kimmy Jimenez. That's a Latino. That's a Hispanic Latin
Hispanic
last name.
That last name.
But she's a full-blown Filipina. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, yeah, that's different. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, another actress who she actually puts it out there a lot that she's a proud Puerto Rican woman is Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza, she's from Parks and Recreation, for those of you who don't know.
She's a very odd person though, for sure. But she's awesome. She's
so funny. She's so hilarious.
Yeah. And even I just love the interview she does, bro. She's so awkward, bro. Oh man. I'm just like, she makes me laugh, dude.
One of her I believe Parks and Recreation won an award, and I mean Amy Poehler was supposed to accept it, but Amy Poehler wasn't able to like show up to the award, so she did. And I believe part of her speech was like, "Oh, so Amy wanted me to accept this award for her, and thanks the thank the demons that allow her to feast on the blood of the young to keep the show going," or something like that. It was so awkward, but the way she just says it, and like a lot of her interviews are just incredible. I love her. She's so funny.
She's funny with no effort. It's ridiculous.
Mr. Magical himself, Mr. David Blaine. He's half Puerto Rican. His father is Puerto Rican.
I did not know he was Spanish, to be honest.
Exactly.
I really did not know. Yeah, you got me with that one.
And funny enough, I'm sorry?
I said I freaking love David Blaine too.
Oh yeah, he's crazy. And funny enough too, Miss Snooki is also a Latina. Yeah, she was born in Chile, but she was adopted by Italian parents. Hence why she grew up so Italian and was part of Jersey Shore. Makes sense.
Yeah, all those puzzle pieces in my brain just came together.
Yeah.
They got the picture full now.
I mean,
it makes sense.
It explains a lot of her drunk moments on the show.
Yes, it does.
You look at her and you're like, huh, I just did that last week. But that's just some, I mean, again, actors, actresses, singers, songwriters that you just didn't expect or completely forgot were of Latin descent.
Continuing, like, you know, the reaches of Hispanic culture, this doesn't just stop at music, artists. We have like characters from like comics, from certain movies, certain, you know, books, cartoons, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some people kind of forget that they're Hispanic, or maybe didn't know either as well, you know. Like a good example that people kind of forget, that Bane is Hispanic.
Yeah.
He's a luchador.
Yeah. Well, he's Caribbean and Cuban, right?
Yeah. But people forget that he's a luchador, and that's why he has that you know, the stuff, you know. I mean, in that I remember back in the old Batman series, like the ones that they aired back in like the early 2000s, whatever. I remember Bane having a Hispanic accent.
Oh, I think there was even some where he didn't even speak English.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there was a couple of episodes where he didn't even speak English.
Yeah, but yeah, over the times, obviously, times have changed and they had him start speaking English. But I mean, yeah, a lot of people forget he's Cuban, Caribbean as well. Caribbeans are really close to Central America, right? I'm not so good with geography, but I know some things.
Probably this one's a little bit newer. People might be familiar with this, or maybe not. The newer Blue Beetle. He's part of. I believe he's part of the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
So
Jaime Reyes.
Yeah, Jaime Reyes. He's Hispanic as well, that I kind of forgot about, to be honest, that he got stuck with the little bug thing on him and whatever, and that gave him powers. Yeah,
I loved Blue Beetle. That's my character in Injustice too.
Injustice, yeah. So that's why it kind of reminded me, like that game. Just literally, since I saw gameplay earlier this week about it, I'm like, oh, I forgot the Blue Beetle was actually Hispanic. Yeah. He even spoke Spanish, I believe, in some of the cutscenes back in that game too. If you were.
In just about everything, I think he's someone they put him with English, but he'll have his like Spanish spurs, little Spanish moments here and there throughout even the show and the comics, I believe.
One
that I have as well is people forget that one of Batman's lovers, Miss Catwoman.
Catwoman, yeah.
Miss Selena Kyle was half Cuban.
Yeah, that's crazy that people probably don't even know about that. They were thinking like, oh, whatever. But yeah, Selena Kyle's, bro. It's kind of weird, but you don't see it, but it's definitely expressed in some, throughout some of the comics and whatever that 100%. Show her past and whatnot, which is pretty awesome that they actually go through and explain her past and like where her parents are from, and they show that Hispanic side of her.
I actually have one more too, even right now, very super recent. I mean, how can you forget about Mr. Spider-Man himself, Miles Morales?
The new Spider-Man face.
The new Spider-Man. Yeah, he's... I don't know what he is exactly. I believe he's also Mexican. But
I think he's Puerto Rican.
Is he?
I think he's Puerto Rican, yeah.
Either way, but yeah, he's the new up-and-coming Spider-Man that will hopefully... Well, not hopefully soon, because I mean, Tom Holland is still a really good Spider-Man. But yeah, Miles Morales is still coming in the big screen. Wasn't his whole story part of the Into the Spider-Verse?
Was a great movie.
Yeah, it really was.
What was I gonna say about Miles Morales? I think you covered everything. One that, I mean, he's kind of, people barely, I mean, he's an old character, an old DC character. But he changed over the years, his looks and whatnot, and like what his powers are. But El Diablo.
Yes.
Yeah, from Suicide Squad. You guys probably seen him recently. But in that movie, they portray him as like a Hispanic gangster for sure, like kind of stereotypical a little bit. But I mean, I think that was the point of that, showing him like that and whatever, and the consequences of his powers and whatnot, which is, it's kind of crazy and whatnot.
But,
yeah.
No, is that it?
Yeah, that's all I had on him.
All right. One that I actually didn't know was that a version of Ghost Rider was also Hispanic. Robbie Reyes. Yeah. So I was like, oh, there was more than just this just this Ghost Rider.
The Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider.
The Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider, exactly.
No, but they portrayed him really freaking well in the TV shows, the Agent of Shields. They almost as good as the comic counterpart on how the looks, and they even got the aesthetic of the car correct. Because in the comic books, I kind of read into Robbie Reyes a lot, but in the comic books, he does have like a charger and it's on fire. And there's a specific clip in the show where they shoot a rocket at his charger and it flips and it turns into the Ghost Rider freaking charger, which is
that's cool.
It's insane, dude. I'm like, it kind of stereotypical again that Hispanics love chargers a little bit, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people. I do love my Dodge Chargers. So.
Yeah, they are good ones.
Cars.
I actually skipped over another Spider-Man. To correct myself, a Spider-Girl, Anya Corazon.
Oh shoot! Never heard of this one.
Yeah. She was somebody else who was a version of Spider-Girl, because I know there's the basic one that we have right now as well. Isn't it Mary Jane instead that takes up like the Spider-Man mantle or something?
Spider-Gwen, you mean?
Spider-Gwen. There we go. My bad. Yeah. But yeah, this Spider-Girl, she Anya Corazon meaning hearts in Spanish. She was also somebody who took up the Spidey mantle.
Well, I mean, Hispanic culture actually, I would say, started even at a younger age for us in cartoons. Some examples of like Hispanic or Hispanic culture being expressed at a young age would be like Dora the Explorer. Entirely just her Diego, yeah. Just their entire family and like teaching kids at a young age how to speak Spanish. I mean,
correction, how to speak Spanglish.
Spanglish, yes. I mean, it's still something,
Yeah. So still part of our childhood, after Dora, but before all these Jaime Reyes, Miles Morales characters. So they're very little known characters as well. But if you watch the show, there's such a great comic relief to the show. I wish we got more of them. Do you remember in Teen Titans, Más y Menos?
Yes, I do. I wanted to include them, but I thought you would have like forgotten about them. But
no, I love Teen Titans, like the original 2003 one that had like the dark scenes with Slade and Robin.
It's such a shame, dude, that they didn't continue that show.
And even the Teen Titans Go right now, I'm not a big fan of. But Más y Menos are twin brothers who are speedsters, not related to
Guatemala,
not related to any of the Flashes, but they are Guatemalan speedsters. And that's why I fell in love with them, because I was like, mi gente.
Yeah, dude. I just love the episode where they're explaining to Cyborg if he wanted tamales, dude. Oh my god. I just freaking love that shit.
Just their whole line. Más y menos, si podemos. I hate that they just stopped that show. They should have at least given it a decent ending.
Yeah, I think it deserved the proper ending for sure. Or at least a movie to end it off like correctly.
And just a few more that I'm just gonna go over quickly that I still had. Kyle Raynor and Jessica Cruz were two versions of the Green Lantern, who were also Latinos.
Yep. Kyle Raynor, I knew he was Hispanic. Yeah.
There's a whole superhero, White Tiger, who I believe there was like 4 or 5 people that took up this character. But his main first original version was Hector Ayala, who I guess the way they transformed into the White Tiger was by some emerald coins that I don't know if they had to ingest or just like touch that gave them their abilities. But I do know Angela Del Toro was the person who followed up Hector, and even after Angela, was Ava Ayala, Hector's younger sister, who also took up the White Tiger mantle.
Yeah.
And those are just a few I have. I don't know if you have any more.
I have one that's like I think recently they people got a little sensitive with like the whole how he looks and whatnot. Recently, I don't know if you've seen it, but Speedy Gonzalez.
No.
So people, I think as in recently, as in like 2-3 months ago, probably, that they wanted people to remove Speedy Gonzalez from like the old Looney Tunes and stuff like that because they said like it's not appropriate for, you know, like it's not a good expression of Hispanics and whatever. Something like that. So something like that. I mean, I never found offense to it, to be honest, 100%.
No.
I thought it was funny because, I mean, for me, that was a kid show. It's a kid show, you know?
Exactly.
There's no harm in it too much, in my opinion.
But I mean, if we're doing that, then why don't we take away Pepe Le Pew?
Exactly,
Pepe
right?
Le Pew was a French, almost stalkerish type of character.
Yeah, exactly.
In Looney Tunes. On top of that, why don't we take off Porky Pig? Porky Pig has a stuttering problem. Are we making fun of people who stutter now? Like, come on, like it's a kid's show. And if we really want to get into it, how many times do they show Tom and Jerry getting drunk?
Yeah, seriously, those old shows, how did they get away with all that stuff, you know?
Exactly. I mean,
and I think that's a fair point too, because you wouldn't be able to get away with that nowadays.
Well, that just goes back to like the whole political correctness type of thing. Like you don't want to offend people, but I mean, changing. Like we went over a couple episodes ago when I even spoke about why didn't we give Robert Downey Jr. shit for doing blackface. But it's one of those things where it's like, well, if we didn't have a problem with it then, why are we having a problem with it now?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let alone the Looney Tunes was, I mean,
different era entirely, different.
Completely. I mean, from what I'm seeing right here, his first appearance was in 1953.
Yeah, look at the
70 years later, we're gonna change such an iconic character.
That's my point. Yeah, like there's no. I don't get why people would even try to do that now.
And I mean, what's so bad about him that he's just fast and he's just a little hyperactive? I mean, at least he's not the bad guy in the show. I mean, if anything, people are trying to catch him, but it's like Roadrunner. Like you can't catch Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but yeah, some people, you know, what could you say? You could just, you know, just shrug your shoulders and be like, whatever, man, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the whole political correctness and all that stuff. I get we want to make a change. But there are some things like you just leave alone. Like it's not worth the time and energy to be mad.
There's bigger things to deal with than this right now type of situation.
Bigger issues. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, speaking of like if people really want to get more into like issues that we talk about or just like want to learn a little bit more of the Latin culture, Hispanic culture, a podcast that I listen to every week. I think there's even sometimes twice a week. They're a really good show. It's called Latinos Out Loud. I mean, it's a group of them. I believe they're all some percentage Dominican or some are full Dominican, but they speak on points for the whole Hispanic Latin culture. And on top of that, even have guests that are big Latin influences in the world. from writers to comics to they even have just small organization leaders. They had a chef who is trying to make a major change in the culinary world. Luis, what's his name? Luis Manuel Miranda.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's been a guest on it as well with his own father. They just hit on a lot of both the comedic side of the Latin culture, but also the political serious topics. And again, because they're all comedians, they're able to turn those serious moments into a little humorous moments, but like they still are able to push a point across. Exactly. Put a message across. And when I listen to it, I'm laughing and I'm just again, I'm thankfully with the mask, I don't look so weird just smiling to myself. But yeah, like it definitely keeps me up to date too, as like what we as Latinos should be paying attention to, especially with the annoying orange right now trying to go again for office. It's a good show. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll definitely keep an eye out for that one myself too.
Mm-hmm. Any shows you want to like plug in or talk about?
Any Spanish shows or that I want to plug in?
That you know about or anything?
I think this goes for every person that, you know, Polly watches his show and loves memes. The Rosa of Guadalupe, just the breeze, bro, that takes over, you know.
The music.
The music and the breeze, yo, you know, you let that take over, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, though, you know exactly what I mean, though. I love that. I watch it with my mom all the time, and I just wait. I'm like, tell me, wait, it's about to come, and I just hear the music picking up, and then they close their eyes, and you know the problems go away.
For those who don't know what La Rosa de Guadalupe is, do you want to explain it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So with that, the show is just centered around like teaching people lessons, pretty much like life lessons about like, you know, not stealing and the consequences about stealing and stuff like that. And they try to either them or their family members ask. I'm not a religious person, so you got to help me out with this. Like the
I believe it's Virgin Mary.
They try to ask her for like a miracle or forgiveness to their loved one or whoever it is, like the son, the daughter, the father, whoever made the mistake, pretty much. And then, you know, throughout the show, they learn their lesson and whatnot. And then it's the infamous part where the music picks up and there's like a breeze that goes over their face with their eyes closed.
And a magical white rose just shows up in front of the picture of the Virgin Mary that this person has in their household.
Yeah, and like when that happens, they kind of like in their mind that's the point where they learned their lessons, quote unquote, where they won't do it again, you know. And then the rose disappears by the end of the episode.
Yeah, so it's a very serious show with serious topics, but there are some moments, again, it's almost like a novela type of thing where some moments are just like laughable at, but you understand why it's needed in the show. Like,
I'm not trying to undermine like the lessons are really good, but they're like you said, it's just some moments that just like it's every time, dude. It's every single time. It just makes me laugh, dude.
Yeah, 100%. And then just either YouTube channels or just like newsletters that I also enjoy going through that put out like some informational or just like day-to-day Latino like banter or whatever. One of them is Mitu, Mitu. I know for the most part they're a newsletter, but they do also have a YouTube channel that does put out like some very quality stuff. I enjoy watching them from time to time. And then if you watch a lot of BuzzFeed, these group of Latinos, I don't know if they're still with BuzzFeed, and then they're just like the Latino branch of things they do is Pero Like. So because they're with BuzzFeed, they do still sometimes have like those same feelings of videos, almost like editing wise. But they do have like a few videos that are actually like either very funny or just like they just hitting on points on. I know one of them is Mexican, but she didn't know Spanish, so she's trying to learn Spanish. She puts a whole journey video on that. As Latinos, we are told that brujeria, magic, is not a good thing. But they do also highlight the positive aspects sometimes of that. They get a psychic to be able to come in and connect them with some past loved ones. Again, just a whole bunch of good videos. I highly recommend watching those if you're looking to broaden your Latino world a little bit, your Latino knowledge.
And of course, you wanna follow us on Take a Sip.
Yes,
we'll be talking about Spanish stuff, culture-wise, food-wise, and stuff like that going forward. If you guys want, of course.
Definitely. I mean, and by that point, I believe we're wrapping it up. Yeah. Alrighty. So thank you all for listening again. My name is Gustavo. You could follow me at OneAlphaPenguin on Twitter and Instagram.
And my name is Amilcar, and you can follow me at Leche on Instagram.
And again, thank you for watching. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and we were just talking earlier, as well as just posting our podcast on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. We'll probably talk about it on here as well. Again, leave us some reviews, rate us, do all the things. Drink some water, wear a mask. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.